Hey everyone, UFC 292, Sterling versus O'Malley has just up, has just wrapped up. I thought the card was mediocre, but let's just jump right into the first fight. We had Karine Silva versus Maryna Moroz. Now this was a rematch. This is the second time fighting, right? The first time Karine Silva won, she won again. This time a guillotine choke. Not much to say. I thought Maryna Moroz was clearly losing on the feet. She was slower. And then she showed, I think, poor grappling skills, like kind of putting herself into that guillotine and then tapping with 1 second left. It just looked like she wanted out.
Yeah. I mean, she was known for holes in her grappling. She was predominantly a boxer. Yeah, but I didn't expect her to fall apart that fast.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what they do with her, but let's move on to the next one. We have Natalia Silva versus Andrea Lee. Now, this was a decision win for Natalia Silva. I was actually pretty impressed. We watched some of her other fights, and we've been very impressed with her movement, with her power. And I felt the same with this one. She just completely dominated Andrea Lee. She was a lot faster than her. She was throwing those nice side kicks, moving well laterally. Just beat her in every aspect of the game. I don't think Andrea Lee had anything for her at all in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, she showed good cardio, everything, flawless.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah, definitely would like to see her more often. I feel like she's improving every time she gets in there, and she can probably be uh, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets to the top five within the next year. Let's move on now to Andre Petroski versus Gerald Meerschaert. Now we did pick Andre Petroski, right? Although, however, it was a split decision, and there was some hairy moments, right? Andre Petroski, I thought he won the first round, but seems like there was some controversy. I thought he clearly won the second round, right? He dropped him. He dropped Gerald Meerschaert. Good ground and pound.
Yeah,
And then in the third round, Andre Petroski kind of gassed out on Gerald Meerschaert, really started to pour on the pressure. I think if there was another round or a couple more minutes, maybe Gerald Meerschaert could have even gotten him out there, but that's not how it goes. So
I'm
yeah,
disappointed, honestly, disappointed. Well, first it was sold to us as a those two kind of like reached out to each other, right? I think they, wanted, challenge the other like for best grappler in UFC at 185, arguably, and they accepted it, but it was like a false advertising. We saw none of that. We didn't see any of the grappling. The first round was kind of like, like they were all both testing each other, and yeah. Petroski was better in the first. I think he was clearly better in the second. Third one, yeah, he did get tired, but we didn't see. I mean, the last minute, I think they were just slugging it out, and that's probably what the fans expected. The fight to be, like the entire fight to be, at least that. But you can clearly tell that none of them are ready for top 10 or top 15, even perhaps. Like I mean,
yeah,
just think like at just picture like what's a Cannoneer, right? Or his last fight, right? Being able to put the output he had in 5 rounds, or I don't know, pick anybody, right? On the top 10 there.
sure.
Those guys are top notch, right? I mean, those two, it didn't have it. Just didn't have it.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, the first round was not a lot of action. Andre Petroski was throwing the right hook, the check right hook, which was just barely missing. He was throwing the big left hand, which was also just barely missing. But yeah, towards the end of the second round, third round, I mean, he was done. So definitely, I don't see him up there with, like you said, Jared Cannonier, a guy who can go 10 rounds, Marvin Vettori, who can go forever. Definitely don't see him up there anytime soon for sure. And yeah, like you said, there was no grappling, which they're known for their grappling. These guys, there was zero grappling, except for that one time, right, where Gerald Meerschaert was dropped and they had that little scramble. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. We have Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson. This was an amazing fight. I didn't expect it to be as exciting as it was, it's actually one fight of the night.
Yeah,
Um,
it was crazy pace, right? It was
Crazy
insane.
pace, nonstop, back and forth. Katona was doing well the first one in the first round. Then Cody
No,
Gibson
it
comes.
was Gibson, I think. No, Gibson won the first round, clearly.
I don't remember exactly. I thought Cody Gibson was winning the second round, if I remember
No, he
correctly.
won the first round.
Really?
Yeah, he won.
Well, yeah,
He,
either way, you're right. So it was like 1-1, and then I think someone had to win the third, right? If I remember correctly,
yeah,
which was Brad ended up winning because if you remember, Cody started to kind of gas out as well. But I mean, for the output that he put out, I think it was it was okay to gas, I guess if that's the right wording. It was warranted.
expected. Yeah, it was crazy output from him. But Brad Katona, I mean, despite being a smaller guy, he was pretty powerful. I mean, he was throwing leather again. Something I didn't expect from a smaller guy like him. And well, I mean, he made history, right? I think he was the second time.
Yeah, I think he won the Ultimate Fighter not twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, an amazing fight. I was actually surprised at some of the shots that Brad Katona ate from Cody Gibson because a lot of flush shots, and yeah, he was bigger. Like when they were close together, there was certain moments where they were just like slugging it out. And yeah, I mean Cody Gibson looked taller, thicker, wider.
Yeah, I was more
Brad,
surprised at how you took the bet for Brad Katona after the
yeah,
first round, and
yeah.
where
So I
clearly was, Gibson was winning the first one, and it looked like he might have been like it was like in the middle of the second round you took Katona, and turned out. I mean, we kind of saw him, Gibson fading, and that was. But the odds were even, right? I mean, when they took it, I think they were pretty even odds.
I think they were even when I took. Yeah, it was a minus 115 for both. Yeah, or something like that. Oh, I don't remember. It was close. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was close,
that
but yeah,
that
we
was
got that. We got the Andre Petroski. So, and we also got the Natalia Silva. So I got three in a row. Um, but yeah, let's move on to the next one, I guess. It was Kurt Holobaugh versus Austin Hubbard. This was also the Ultimate Fighter finale. This was for the 155 weight class, the lightweight. Um, Kurt Holobaugh wins by triangle choke. I thought Austin Hubbard was doing well in the first round. If you remember, I thought he was winning. Then Kurt Holobaugh comes out in the second. It's almost like he woke up, like he was sleeping, like, and then all of a sudden, boom, he woke up. He hurts Austin, and then he gets him into that triangle, and that was all.
Well, Austin kind of like rolled into it, right? Also, he rolled into
Yeah,
it almost into armbar, which then got transitioned into a triangle.
yeah,
But again, we see these mistakes sometimes. They make even at that level where I just don't understand, like, how would you do that? Why would you do that? It's just to me, it's such a basic thing, and you roll it into the armbar, which then got transitioned into a triangle. But yeah, I mean, he did that
yeah. I
show.
have
The
to.
third show, really amazing jujitsu, and at his age, 37, for that division, I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and you were saying how he rolled in the triangle choke. I don't know. I have to rewatch it because I personally have never went from getting an armbar. I've escaped armbars, but never to go into a triangle. I have to rewatch to see exactly how that happened. But yeah, Kurt Hellebow, like you said, I don't know how much he's gonna get done. He is pretty old-ish for the sport. We'll see. I don't know. Let's move on to the next fight. We had Gregory Rodrigues versus Denis Tiuliulin. I mean, I think we predicted this perfectly, right? We talked about the wrestling, the grappling from Gregory's side, and the lack those of those areas for Denis.
Absolutely zero,
Absolutely no. He
absolutely
had
zero defense.
and
He
yeah.
got, yeah,
Mhm.
he got taken down. No sprawl, nothing, no reaction, no underhooks. He gets taken down, then he Rodrigues passes easily. There's no resistance.
No.
Gets a full mount, gets a back mount, elbows, two elbows, finished. It was
Yeah, and I personally I love Gregory. I love when he slugs it out and everything. But I personally was happy to see him, deploy this tactic because I think it shows evolution, right? Like he doesn't need to go and just slug it out. I think it's good that he uses grappling and where he's better at. I think while he was fighting, you were mentioning like why didn't he do this against Armin and some of the other guys, but I think this shows real evolution in his game and it's going to help him, to enter the top 15.
Well, the dude is a high level black belt. He's not just a black belt. He's
champion. Yeah,
he's a world champion, BJJ champion. The guy is no joke.
For sure. So hopefully he mixes it up a little more. Like I said, everyone loves a slugfest, but if you want to be top 15, top 10, you got to be able to mix it up and use all aspects of martial arts, right? Because that's why it's called mixed martial arts. But yeah, another thing was that I think there was some sort of controversy with the elbow hitting the back of the head. If you look, it looks like Denis kind of was turning as he was elbowing. So I kind of like. I don't think Gregory's trying to hit him in the back of the head. Nothing malicious, of course not.
No, he's not that type of fighter.
But the second one was clean. That's the one that put him away. So I had no problem with it. Denis had no problem with it. Referee had no problem with it. Commission had no problem with it. So I think people should stop.
Well, I think Daniel Cormier had a problem with it. I think he suggested that Denis Tiuliulin should appeal.
I didn't hear that.
I'm pretty sure Denis Tiuliulin is not gonna.
I don't know. Again, like I said, it looked like he was turning his head while he was throwing the elbow. So I know if you remember Junior Dos Santos got knocked out by Cyril Gane and he was complaining that it was to the back of the head, but they deemed it okay because Junior Dos Santos like turned his head while Cyril Gane was elbowing him. So, anyways, that's what I kind of thought of. So I thought it was fine, and let's just move on to the next fight, which is also at the middleweight division. We have Brad Tavares versus Chris Weidman. We had Brad Tavares winning a slow, unanimous decision, right? I expect a lot more from Brad Tavares, to be honest.
Yeah. I think he did get a lot of hate. Instagram was just bombarding him with. He should have won this. We didn't expect. I mean, we did expect a win from him, but we didn't expect an earlier stoppage or something. But I don't know. I think he was still apprehensive about takedowns, and although I don't know, he really did a good job in the first and second round defending the takedowns. I don't know why he was so apprehensive in the third, and where he could have and should have done more. But Weidman, I don't know. I don't know what this guy's trying to do. I mean, you have to ask why at this point. Why is he doing this? I mean, he says things that, I mean, people in his camp probably should the people who love him should tell him to stop it, because he says things like he's the best position fighter, like match against Adesanya, but come on, I mean, Adesanya would destroy him, and I don't know. I don't think he should continue fighting anymore.
I think Chris has done enough for the sport. I personally remember as a kid watching him knock out Silva, which is what really made me a fan of the sport. I think he's done enough. He defended the championship. I feel like he's made a lot of money. He's a good commentator. He has his radio shows. At his age and with all the injuries he's had, with the right leg snapping, now I think Dana White was saying that the left leg has a torn ACL or something like that, right? There's only so much a person can take. I think he's done enough. I think he should just call it quits. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, at one point, he was one of the best in the world, and he still probably is one of the best middleweights of all time in the UFC, even with this big losing streak, I think he's still up there. So, he should probably stop. Brad Tavares, I don't know what to do with Brad Tavares. I think, again, we needed a little more from him, right? Especially Chris Weidman it looked like he had no right leg, and then he had no left leg. So,
it was just too timid, too
passive, and it actually looked like Chris Weidman even hit him a couple times, couple of nice times.
Yeah, he did.
Looks like maybe he stunned him. I'm not really sure what Brad Tavares is doing, but I think we could just move on to the next one, which was a bantamweight fight. Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munhoz. Marlon Chito Vera, of course, wins the unanimous decision. I had no problem with Marlon Vera winning, even though at the moment I thought Pedro Munhoz won. I more have a problem with the fact that I think there was two 30-27s or one. There was
there was two
30-27.
30-27s for sure.
I thought for sure Pedro Munhoz won the second round at least. The first round, I thought maybe you can give to him.
Yeah, I'll give him the first two. I'll definitely give him the first two rounds for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because I picked Pedro Munhoz to win. I really do believe that if he, even if Chito Vera should have won, there's no way he should have been a 30-20. I don't know how you give the second round to Chito Vera.
Yeah.
But, I thought the fight was okay. There was a lot of output from both guys, right? I think I saw like Pedro Munhoz and Chito Vera threw over 500 strikes or something like that. There's a lot of output. Nothing really landing clean on Marlon Vera, and if it was, it didn't make any marks. He didn't show any redness, any bruising, which was not the case for Pedro, especially in that third round.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I mean, except for like the horrible judging. I think this card was one of the worst judging we've seen in a while. I mean, and that's I think because they had this random judges. I think in the Massachusetts commission. I don't know. They had these weird judges that we have never heard of, like Marcel Varela and like Nick Mahmoud and I forget who else. Like funky names that we haven't seen, and hopefully we'll never see them again. This was terrible. I don't know. Have no idea what the heck they were watching, those people.
I also don't know, but again, yeah, I don't think the decision was a bad decision, or I think it could be that the right person won, but again, how they got to the decision was a little questionable. But I was happy to see that Chito, I don't know if he was more active in the third, but that jab, I like how he started to use that jab. If you remember, I think that's what won him the fight in that third round. Pedro Munhoz just kept running into that jab over and over again, and Pedro Munhoz's nose started to bleed and he started to swell up.
Yeah.
So it was good that he found the jab. We'll see what's next for Marlon Vera. It looks like it's gonna be Sean O'Malley, not because he deserves it, but because Sean O'Malley,
right,
is it's gonna be a big fight, right? Because they fought the first time, and Sean O'Malley wants the rematch, so it looks like that's what's gonna be next. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight. It was also at bantamweight, and I thought this was also horrible
decisions. Yeah,
the judges had Mario Bautista beating Damon Blackshear. Not only they had him beating him, they had it by unanimous decision, and I think also two judges gave 30-27.
One judge.
I think that's absolute craziness.
Yeah.
I thought Damon, I thought he clearly won the first two rounds. I mean, he was more active. He had takedowns. He had,
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
Again, I'm not surprised that the crazy judge, that Steve Reed, the judge, or whoever, that the judge will never see that he gave 30-27, but our usual suspects like Sal D'Amato, Chris Lee, I mean, again, we see them again and again. It was the worst judges in the game. Sal D'Amato, Chris Lee.
Oh, were they judging this fight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I saw some people maybe saying stuff like maybe there's corruption because Mario is Sean O'Malley's teammate. I don't think it's anything that, I don't think UFC is that stupid. But I really don't know what to say. Yeah, like I thought Damon easily won. He definitely lost the third round, right? Because it looked like he was slowing down, and Mario
was slowing down. Yeah,
but in any case, I really hope that the UFC takes care of Blackshear. Taking this fight on a week's notice, cutting weight 2 times in a week is not easy. Fighting 2 times in a week is not easy. I really hope they take care of him.
Even tired. I mean, he kept pushing. He actually had takedowns.
Yeah,
he had a bunch of takedowns. He was catching his kicks, Batista's kicks. he was doing okay. I mean, he was just a little bit slower. Bautista, I was surprised at his cardio. I mean that really surprised me. I mean, I was looking at his breathing patterns. It was absolutely, flawless breathing. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, hopefully these guys, I hope this doesn't take a lot from Blackshear's stock, this loss. But probably we'll see Mario Bautista in, fighting for top 15 next, I think. He's on a let me see what he's on a win streak, right? 1, 2. Yeah, so he's on a 5-fight win streak. So we're probably gonna see him against the top 15 next. Let's move on to Garry versus Neil Magny. This was a welterweight bout. Garry just completely dominates Neil Magny. I thought Garry could put him away. He was close a couple of times, but it was just a leg kick clinic, right? He was just leg kick after leg kick after leg kick, and Neil Magny had no answer. He had no check. He had no counter off the leg kick for Garry. He had nothing for him.
Yeah, but this is again one of those situations where I don't know why Ian didn't want to put him away. Was he trying to hurt him, and was he trying to punish him, or just like why not finish him? Like why not go for it? And
I'm not sure. I think Neil Magny was doing enough. Like in certain moments, it looked like he was about to be finished, but then he would circle off or clinch up. So maybe he just couldn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I think maybe he should have went into his guard, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to show the world that he is not afraid to be on the ground with. I don't want to say Neil Magny is a top level grappler, but he should show the world that he's not afraid to be on the ground. And to me, that he showed that he is afraid.
Yeah, but it's funny because in his post-fight interview, he was saying that, like, oh, one thing that you guys haven't seen from me is my grappling. I have top-notch grappling. Like he's like, saying, ask Gilbert Burns and he was mentioning mentioning a whole bunch of other like high-level jiu-jitsu guys, but why not go into Neil Magny's
Yeah, then he should have showed it.
I mean, show it then.
Right, he should have showed it against a hurt opponent, and he should have
pass the guard. Go for a calf. What's it called? A knee bar, or not knee bar, but ankle lock. What's it called? Right. Go for something, right? I don't know. Show something. But to be honest, I wasn't super impressed. I know that one judge gave 30-24. I wasn't super impressed. I thought he would. I thought he should be able to put away Neil Magny. We've seen Shafkat do it. We've seen a lot of other guys do it. But Neil Magny,
Garry himself put him away, right?
Garry just dominated him, got that body lock, threw him down, and finished him. So I'm still not super high on Garry, but we will see what he does next. I know he wants to. He said he called out Wonder Boy, and Wonder Boy turned him down, which is, I'm not surprised. But we'll see. Let's move on now to the co-main event. Weili defeats Amanda Lemos by unanimous decision. I mean, this was just domination. This is one of the most biggest beatings I've seen in a title fight. I don't think I've seen a bigger beating.
Yeah, this is the biggest beating, yet the amount of damage shown for the amount of beating didn't make sense, right? I mean, we would expect to see more blood on Amanda, but which we haven't seen. She's tough, man. Oh my God, man, how tough she is. And she was even those fancy, funky darces she was threatening. There was also kind of something, right, to watch.
Ninja choke, yeah.
Those I don't know. I've personally never tried those, but they were dangerous. I mean, certainly in the first round, I think it was the first round, Weili didn't like it. But she showed heart, but heart is not enough. You need the skill, and
Mhm.
and Weili has the skill. She has the power, she has the skill, she has the grappling, she has the stand up, she has the cardio. She's the all well-round fighter. Nothing's missing. There's really nothing missing in her game.
Yeah, I do think she's the most complete 115 pounder right now in the world. Um I think she smokes, to be honest, Tatiana Suarez. Now I know there is a kind of a hole in Zhang Weili's game where if she is on the bottom guard, she is kind of sometimes able to be held there. But I do think that I think she's just I think she's the most complete 115 pounder. Yeah, I think her combination work. She
Yeah,
does have power. She dropped Amanda. She has excellent submissions, submission defense, wrestling. The only thing I would like is for her to work on getting out from bottom guard. But otherwise, I think she beats Tatiana Suarez and she beats everyone else there.
yeah. Well, one of the judges gave 49-45. I think one of the judges gave one of the rounds
It
to
was the fourth round, which I thought, yeah, I don't
I
know.
hope again. We hope we never see those judges again.
I think in that round I counted like four punches from Amanda. If you remember, Amanda landed like those right hands, those like 3, 4 right hands in a
Yeah.
row. If they gave her the round off that, then I don't know. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they clean up this whole judging. I think it's just the commission here. I think it was their own commission. They had like their
Yeah,
own.
yeah, that's
Because
Massachusetts.
they also had their, like their own referees, right? Like they had some new referees. Um,
In addition to Herb Dean and yeah.
Yeah, they had. Let me see what they had. They had a guy named John English, which I've never heard of. Brian Minner. Um, but yeah, I think Zhang Weili is the real deal, and I hope she fights Yan Xiaonan next in China. That'd be a big fight. Let's move on now to the main event: Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. Sean O'Malley knocks out Aljamain Sterling in the second round to win the bantamweight championship. What do you know? What are you thinking? What do you think about that?
That was, I think, one of the two um one of the two matches that we got wrong, right? We
Yeah,
got the first one and everything else we got right.
pretty much.
I don't think we are the only ones in. I believe
No one said
of the most of the MMA world and didn't expect that. Uh, I mean, we haven't seen this from O'Malley, right? He wasn't able to put away Peter Yan. Again, Peter Yan is his boxing is awesome, but he got caught. I mean, he got caught, and this will happen. I mean, step back. He likes to do that a lot, actually, right? When O'Malley
does that against everyone.
back and then counter, step back, counter. He does that a lot. We see a lot of fighters now adopting this. We see this even. I mean, we talked about this Silva, right? She does a lot of that. I mean, but she's lighter, right? That really works for her. But O'Malley is, great job. I mean, he's the punisher. He punished him for a little mistake he made. He overextended and he got punished for it.
Yeah, yeah. It was a great punish to Aljamain's mistake, right? Because the first round really nothing happened, but if you did notice in that first round, it was kind of Aljamain pushing the pace, right? He was trying to pressure out Sean O'Malley,
Mhm.
and I think maybe Aljamain was a little frustrated because it looked like he was trying to make something happen, right? He threw a very big left hand, overextended. He overextended so much to the point where he actually had to switch stances. Otherwise, he would have fallen or lost balance. And then Sean O'Malley, yeah, just pulled back. And if you freeze frame, if you pause right before Sean O'Malley threw the counter, Aljamain's left hand is actually like on Sean O'Malley's face. It's literally touching his face. So Sean O'Malley definitely has amazing distance control, and he also I think Gage did this as well with the left hand, because if you notice, before he threw the right hand, he first checked
Yeah.
the left, right? And then so yeah, I mean the counter was perfect. I would have liked to see, of course, a little more, right? I mean, would have liked to see Aljamain get him to the ground, and Sean O'Malley had to work out from there, and
Yeah.
just a little more, right? Because it
Maybe
almost, I don't want to say it seems flukish, because that's not the case for sure. But
well,
would have
Sterling, yeah, Sterling was definitely more aggressive, right? He came out like a madman, right? And you can't be that reckless with O'Malley, right? Remember, like Peter Yan was always, Peter Yan was very disciplined, probably the word I should use.
the right
right?
hand was always up.
Right, and every time Sean would switch stances, Peter would switch stances and follow with him, right?
Mhm.
He was very, very again, I can't find another word. Discipline probably is the word. He never overextended.
For sure.
But
I thought, yeah, I think that I think probably the main thing that won Sean O'Malley the fight was definitely the footwork, right? I mean, the way he was moving.
the way he was moving laterally, right?
I think that's what won the fight.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of times where it looked like Aljamain was about to corner him against the cage, but he was just able to slip out either to the left or to the right. And I think that really got to Aljamain. I think Aljamain was a little lost, right? Because
Aljamain was very, very linear, right?
Yeah.
The way Aljamain was going
he wasn't cutting him off correctly.
He was just very linear. Because I thought maybe he's gonna go for like every time he would be like cornering him, I thought he's gonna go for like a single, but I guess he chose not to for some reason.
I think it was the footwork and lateral movement of Sean O'Malley not allowing him to go for the single or a double or any kind of like sort of takedown. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was a little surprised to see some people complaining about the stoppage. Maybe it's a little too early. If you want to say Aljamain could have taken a couple more punches, just but I think maybe he would have been put out completely if that was the case, if it would have kept going. But yeah, I did see some arguments saying that, like, hey, it's a championship fight. But I don't necessarily think that someone should be knocked out cold for the referee to stop it. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the stoppage, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's our reaction, guys, to UFC 292. Again, I think it was a mediocre card. Maybe I don't even know if we would give it a ranking or not, like a C or something like that, a 6 out of 10, whatever. The fights were okay. A lot of decisions, wasn't so stacked, but it was okay. It was okay. And yeah, so that's a reaction. Thank you guys for watching.
And stay tuned for the Holloway Karine Zombie predictions.
Yes, stay tuned for that. That should be an awesome main event. And we'll catch you guys soon. Thank you.